Let's see if anything is working. No, nothing at the moment. Nothing coming through at the moment. If there is, please let me know in the comments. I think we're working. I think we're live. It looks like we are. Yes, we are live. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, whatever time of the day is, whatever part of the world you are possibly watching from. Hello. Welcome to broadcast number 3, Peakfiddler. And today I thought it might be nice to cover a very popular tune, the king of the... I daren't say it because every time I say it I get hammered for copyright. But Fairies. Okay, I hope no one heard that. It's that particular tune I want to look at because I get so many inquiries about, can you perhaps produce the notation for the version that you play? Yes, I've done it. I've figured it out and I've put it into a more regular key. I think it might be G, it might be D, I'm not sure. I'm bound to be told if it's some weird and wonderful key. But anyway, it's in a format that you can easily understand. I hope anyway. So I've written that out and I thought it's a bog standard kind of tuning that most people in any session will be able to play along with you. I haven't done the funny one in the key of C, I think it is, which I rather like because I thought I would save that for a different broadcast because I play the tune slightly different. In a different key, I play it in a slightly different way, which is very odd really. I never realised until I started to tap out the notation. But yeah, I do. So that's interesting that I play tunes different ways in different keys. So there you go. There's something of interest perhaps. Yeah, I thought the other thing, this I love this bouzouki. Good afternoon, Rose. This particular instrument you hear a lot of at the moment because it's my sort of latest instrument that I've bought. This was made in Romania. I think it's a company called Homewood or something like that. But I bought it from Thomann, the musical instrument suppliers, who I think are either based in Germany or Belgium, one of the two. But it came in a few days and it wasn't very expensive and it came via a delivery and it was well packaged, very, very pleased, and it's got a pickup. So I shall be playing this at the weekend with my pal. We're out playing locally, so that should be quite good. Things are starting to happen on the live music scene now, which is all good fun because really at the end of the day, that's why we learn these things, these instruments, isn't it, to play live? But the violin, the fiddle. I don't think I've rosined up yet. I had an inquiry from a lady a while back. How often should you rosin the bow? Well, I think it's very much a choice, that one. I tend to rosin it when I hear a few squeaks. So, and I get quite a few of those, so I tend to rosin quite a bit. How do I do it? Like that, basically. I do it 2 or 3 times. and it just kind of hopefully should stop any squeaks. Yeah, not too bad. So that's the first tune I'm going to play and talk a bit about, the King of the Fairies, and that's a tune that I first heard, oh gosh, maybe 40 odd years ago. So we're going back a bit, and it was in a fiddle collection, a book of fiddlers' tunes, and I only had an old Skylark fiddle then, and at the time that was one of the very first tunes I learned, and I was always captured by it. I was sort of always fascinated by the sound of the tune, and I think it's one of those tunes that a lot of people show a lot of interest in. There's something magical about it. Not only the title, of course, but also the actual sound of the tune. And no doubt somebody will tell me the reason why. They'll say it's in E minor Dorian or something like that. Well, I don't know about that, but all I do know is it's a very pleasant melody to play, and it does make people listen. So the best thing I can do now, because I'm starting to get the hang of this, is try and put some music on the screen. Now I wonder if that's come up. Yeah, I bet it hasn't. No, yeah, I think we're all right there. Now hopefully that should appear in a minute. You should see something. There's a little bit of lag, so I'm not quite seeing on YouTube what's coming out live. Yep, it looks like it's happening. So hopefully on the screen now you should see the musical notation. Yes, it's appeared. Great. Now what I will do, because I've figured this out now, I spent some time last night, I think it was, or maybe the day before, because I was a bit shattered yesterday. The day before I sat down and worked out exactly what I play, because as per usual my version isn't the standard one that you find in the books. I seem to change tunes over a period of years. I seem to develop them, and that's possibly the case with this. And I imagine that this tune may have been taken from the King of the Fairies in Shakespeare, maybe, who knows. But anyway, my interpretation is this. I hope you can see the musical notation nice and clearly on the screen. As I say, I will stick a copy of this into the community section, so you can download it and print it out, or stick it on your mobile phone, or whatever you want to do with it. Use it as wallpaper, mate. Oh no. But you could print it out. That's the point. And I'll leave a link in the description below this video, so at least you can find it without too many problems. So here we go. King of the Fairies. King of the Fairies. I mustn't say it too loud because YouTube will say, "Oh, Sony Music own the copyright to that one." Well, we'll see, shall we? Anyway, this is the version in the key of whatever it is. G. I've got it in here. that's the tune, kind of like played as a hornpipe. Da do 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 do. Is, you know, it's a bit bouncy. To my mind, that sounds all right. Yeah, fine, lovely, we like it. And maybe if you were doodling away with your feet, or you know, doing a little dance or something, fine. But this tune stands out better, I think, sometimes played like this. Okay, it's a bit like a funeral march, but having said that, there's something about it. Now, if you stick a bit of reverb on that, and if you play it on an electric fiddle with plenty of bottom end, by bottom end I mean plenty of bass coming through underneath, so you know you can feel it wafting your trouser legs or whatever, it really kicks in, that does. And then if you've got, you know, sympathetic musicians playing along with you, you may be a synthesizer, some guy on the synth, or what, or maybe a lady playing the synth, you know, somebody on the bass sort of doing a nice sort of low rumbling sound. It really does have the right effect. So yeah, the King of the Fairies, it's an interesting tune, and I think it has to be treated in different ways because you can interpret the tune in different ways. So you're not just purely playing the notes, you know. Yuck! It wants to be. Plenty of expression and interpretation. Well, that's the way I see it anyway, and I always feel that if you play it like that, it comes across much better, because people kind of think, well, yeah, I like the way that's being played. So that's the King of the Fairies. And of course, I do prefer to play it in a slightly lower key. And I thought I would leave that for another time, another live broadcast, because in a slightly lower key, it stands out, in my opinion, as a more interesting and melodic melody. So there we go. So that's my take on the King of the Fairies. Do I love the tune? Yes. I think a lot of people do as well. There's something magical about it. Can't put my finger on exactly what it is, but you know, it's one of those things. It's one of those tunes. Now, just moving on slightly from the King of the Fairies, a number of questions I get asked on the channel. Number one, Mr. Peakfiddler. Yep, that's me. Do you play all your instruments? Well, there's no backing band here, you see. Now, the point is, I play all the instruments, yes, but I also play with other musicians, because otherwise life would be like, you know, it would be as dull as dishwater. You need to play with other musicians. But when you're recording, sometimes it's so much easier just to be able to play the drums, play the keyboard, the synth, the guitar, the banjo, whatever yourself, because then you're not having to bring in a heap of other musicians to play with you. So yeah, I basically, from necessity, have learnt to play all of the other instruments. Now, you may say, well, did you start on the violin? No, I started on the old guitar because I love the guitar, of course. I came up from a period when people like Eric Clapton were, first influencing everybody, and the Beatles and things like that. So, yeah, everybody wanted to play a guitar in those days, and everybody could. It was amazing. There was an absolute heap of players who could play the guitar. Nowadays, there are fewer musicians who play the guitar. Most people seem to like to press buttons. But, having said that, so do I. So, you can't have it always. So, I tend to play all the instruments myself. So that's why sometimes you'll hear lots of different instruments going on in the background, because I enjoy adding those instruments to it. Moving on. Backing tracks. Why don't you make more backing tracks? That's a question I get asked a lot. Well, I used to do a lot of backing tracks on the channel, and they get so few views, and yet I had to virtually re-record the whole of the tune, minus the fiddle, because when I make a video, the first thing I do is pick up a fiddle. That's the very first thing I do. If I'm making a new tune, let's say I'm composing a new tune today. Hey, that's interesting. There's a new tune for you. Never heard that one before. That was in the key of A, I believe, or no doubt somebody will pick me up and say, no, it wasn't. It was in the key of some weird and wonderful thing. Anyway, I think it was in the key of A. That's the first thing I would record. That. Okay, so that would be recorded, and then I'd pick up the old guitar and I'd figure out the chords, probably starting on the chord of A and then going up to D and back maybe down to G or E. Anyway, I would start playing. I'd stick the headphones on, Whoops, sorry about that. Getting a bit carried away here. Stick the headphones on and listen to my fiddle playing, and then add the guitar, and so on and so forth, and then maybe add some bass guitar, and maybe add some drums or keyboard or something like that. So that's the kind of way I work. Now somebody comes along and says, can you also, I'm sorry about this, I'm getting a bit carried away, can you please provide me with a backing track? Well, straight away I take the violin out, and you listen to the other instruments, and they're not quite maybe in sync, perfect sync. So it's easier sometimes to record with a click track. Okay, now if you're not used to computer recording, what you do is you have a recording piece of software, and it does that. It gives you like a click. So it might be 110 beats a minute or 120, something along like that. And then you would have to record your instruments, and they all have to be nice and synchronized. So you're basically re-recording the whole thing minus the fiddle. So in other words, to cut a long story short, it's a lot of effort just to produce a backing track. That's why I don't make as many. Maybe I will make more, who knows, but at the moment I kind of find it more fun just to write new tunes like I just did. So there you go. And that was a new tune, by the way. Never heard that one before. Okay, so that's a brand new tune there. I've never heard that one before. Sort of sounds like an English kind of tune. One of those things that kids used to sort of whistle when they were on the streets playing hopscotch or something like that in the good old days. So maybe I'll get a handle on that one and figure it out and try and work out what I was playing. And a new tune is born and I can put it on the channel for you guys to enjoy and play along with. But there you go. So, moving on a little, a few more things I've written down. No, I think I've reached all those. Yeah, good. So, the next part of this broadcast, I thought it might be nice to cover a tune set that I played right way back when I first kicked off with YouTube. 2007 I think it was, and I think because in those days YouTube was a very different beast to what it is now. Google has really taken it over and developed it beyond all belief, and in fact it's a different place now. You get all this analytics telling you who's listening and where they're listening and everything. For me it's mind-boggling. In fact, a lot of it just goes straight over there with me because, I mean, I'm a musician. Well, I like to think I am anyway. But anyway, when it kicked off, Google, YouTube, I think it was just a couple of American guys who kicked it off in their back bedroom or something. Anyway, it was very disorganised and it was lovely. But anyway, I put a tune up there, a set of tunes called Homeward Bound. Now, I'd heard a guy, there's a banjo player, I think he comes from the States, called Ken Perlman. Oh, he's got a beautiful, a lovely style of playing the banjo, the 5-string banjo. Now, we'll forgive him for his sins, but for playing the 5-string, but he is a beautiful banjo player. And I met Ken a couple of times when he came to a local venue and played in this area. And he had been all round Cape Breton, and he had been collecting all these wonderful fiddle tunes, and he produced a couple of albums of fiddle music that people from Cape Breton were playing. Now, they weren't the regular artists, they weren't the sort of Natalie McMasters. I mean, because come on, she's just amazing. Natalie McMaster, she's a lovely person. I met her up in somewhere near Blackpool, Morecambe I think it was. Lovely lady, lovely person. That was quite some years ago, before I think she settled down and had children and everything else, but fantastic fiddle player. But Ken Perlman's albums feature people who aren't sort of in the mainstream. They aren't professional recording artists. They are like, you know, people you run into at your local session. And there's a certain sort of magic to these recordings, and I was listening to these recordings. I'd bought a couple of albums, CDs from Ken when he came over, and anyway, I was struck by one of the tunes called Homeward Bound. Now, it's not the one that Simon and Garfunkel sing. It's a beautiful tune. And then I looked on the session website, and there it tells me that it's actually an Irish tune. But the way the Cape Breton fiddle players play it, it's a very, very punchy kind of melody. And their bowing is very interesting indeed. It goes like this. I'll show you. First of all, come on, get a grip, fella. I need to put the right. There we go. Now, in a moment, the music will magically appear, because I forgot there to press the right button. But don't worry, just pretend it didn't happen. This is Peakfiddler broadcasting, you know, and anything can go wrong here. I'm surprised something hasn't dropped off the wall. It still hasn't appeared. There we are. No, it's about to come. It's just about to appear on the screen any moment now. Yeah, there we go. So here we go. Homeward Bound. That's the tune Homeward Bound, and that's sort of played in a very Cape Breton style, because the old leg was bouncing up and down there. I don't know if that came across on the camera, but I was really tapping my foot. Now, if you watch Natalie McMaster, she you know, the leg's going all the time, and that seems to be a style of Cape Breton fiddle players. They seem to have that real drive and rhythm. So with that particular tune, Homeward Bound, I think it's not played in quite the Irish style. I'm never trying to figure out how it would be played if it were played in an Irish style, but there's not a lot of embellishments. It's all about the bowing. Now, what am I on about? Let me just show you, because I think this is important and I think it might be of interest to you. So it's sort of like... Now, there's a thing I call the flick. Now, I'm not talking about the cinema now, of course, where you go to the flicks, but it's the same word, it's the flick. Now, what I mean by that is it's like a snap, you'd sort of... Your bow is really sort of, it's really flicking back on that rhythm. And it's kind of like giving the rhythm to the tune. I don't think there are any grace notes there. No grace notes whatsoever. It's all about flicking on that bow, and that's where your technique needs to be such that you're not frightened of really digging into the fiddle, because that's what gives this tune its drive and its rhythm. And I've played this at some sessions, and people immediately start listening. They think, what's going on? And you can see their feet starting to tap, particularly if there are people watching. And they're sort of, been sitting there for a while, and you start playing that, and all of a sudden you see that their whole demeanour changes. They start listening to you, they start playing, or not, their feet start tapping. So yeah, it's one of those tunes. So I like to use this tune in the beginning of a set, because then after playing this tune, I go into another tune called Lady Forbes. Now, I've no idea who Lady Forbes was. Perhaps she was a patron of a fiddle player. Maybe she liked what he played. Or alternatively, maybe Lady Forbes was somebody who particularly liked a particular tune, and somebody thought, right, we'll name this after her. Not sure. But this particular tune lives in Chief O'Neill's wonderful collection of about 1001 tunes, which, if my memory serves me correctly, my version is falling to pieces. I've used it so many times. It's in pieces, so I can't pick it up and show you because it's like all over the place. I really do need to try and get hold of another copy. But anyway, Chief O'Neill, Lady Forbes. So we go from this one. And then we go straight into the Lady Forbes. So it's played in a similar kind of manner. There's that flicking going on again. Okay, I have to be careful what I say there. I nearly said the wrong word. That flicking going on again. Okay, otherwise YouTube will say, right, let's ban Peakfiddler. He used a naughty word. No, I would never. So anyway, it's the same kind of tune in that respect, the way you play it. And it's not played in quite the Irish style, of course, but it's interesting to do that and to add this to tag it on to Homeward Bound, which is played in the Cape sort of Breton style. And the only thing that's different about it from what we would normally play, say, in English Cayley, is it's all in the same key. In English Ceilidh, we try and start off in the key of G and then go to for the next tune the key of D, and then maybe down to the key of G again, and then up to the key of A. You know, 4 or 5 tunes in different keys to keep the bass player awake, basically. But yeah, so in English Ceilidh we would do that, but in Irish sets of tunes they don't seem to do that. They seem to stay in the same key. Now, whether it's to make it easier for the guitar players, or maybe so the baran players can play in the right key, I don't know. I'm not sure about the baran players. I better be very careful here, otherwise there'll be a knock on the door in 10 minutes and say, "You've been complaining about baran players," and about a 6'8" person will turn up on the doorstep saying, "Hey, hey." No. So anyway, I'm rabbiting on again. The final tune in this set, which I will put on now because seems to be a bit of lag. In a moment, you will see a tune called Lady Forbes. Sorry, not Lady Forbes. I've pressed the wrong button. Not to worry. This is Peakfiddler live broadcasting here from the UK. So things are going to go wrong. Hope you're enjoying this broadcast so far. I'm having a lot of fun. I've started to do these live broadcasts because they're so much fun. And I enjoy having a good rabbit and talk. When I say rabbit, that means chatter. I enjoy talking. I enjoy explaining tunes. I enjoy talking about the music and talking about the genre. I enjoy talking about this wonderful instrument, one of the best instruments in the whole wide world. So I'm glad you feel that you are interested enough to join me. Nobody's thrown any eggs at the screen yet, so that's very positive. Before I play this next tune, I'm just going to have a look through some of the comments. Well, yeah. How about some drones or double stop to give it an old time? Yes, I shall be having a go at doing that with that new tune, definitely. Ginger Cat. That will be something definitely to have a go. Hello in Peru. I hope all is well with you in Peru. Fantastic, marvellous. The internet's a wonderful place. Hello in India. Hello to everyone in India. A country I've not yet visited, but it's definitely high on my priority list. I would love to go to India. Maybe when the pandemic starts to settle down, we can all get back to living our lives in a normal way. Natalie McMaster performing with her 4 children is fantastic. There is a wonderful video out there. Tim saw a video of Natalie playing with her 4 children. It's fantastic. The 4 kiddies, they're all playing away. Amazing. Oh gosh, Natalie was at Teachers College with me. Oh wow, lovely lady, Kim. Yeah, a lovely lady was Natalie when I met her, only briefly, a few years ago, but an absolute charming person. Hello from Germany. Yes, hello to Germany, and hello to Mexico. Wow, we are certainly going global here this afternoon, which is absolutely fantastic. Now, the next tune in this set of 3 tunes, which I've broken up a bit, is called My Love, She Is in America. And I've stuck it on the screen so you can see it now. And of course, as I'll mention again, I will put all of these tunes into the community section, and I will leave links in this below this video. So if you come back in a day or so, I should have done that, and you can then print them out or stick them on your mobile phone or whatever you want to do with them. So there will be some link to the new musical notation. But the third tune, My Love, She Is an American. Now I'm assuming this is an Irish guy, and his girlfriend has emigrated to America. Of course, this happened during the potato famine, which is where my ancestors moved across to jolly old England during the potato famine. Terrible during a period in Irish history, and very reliant upon one crop for their food source. And of course there was a famine, there was blight, potato blight, and it caused huge problems with people, and they had to move away and resettle elsewhere. And I'm assuming that's what's happened here. This guy and his sweetheart, the sweetheart has gone to America, perhaps to take up service, working as a scullery maid or something like that for a very wealthy family, and he's missing her. So this tune is called My Love, She Is in America. By the time he got to America, he probably found his love had met someone else, got married and got about 4 kids. But there you go. We don't want to spoil the story, do we? Perhaps I'm a bit realistic like that. Anyway, so how's this tune go? Oh, I know. Whoa! That's the final tune in the set of 3 tunes. So what I should really do now is play through each tune. So rather than bore the pants off you, I shall play through each tune only twice. So don't worry, I won't play it 3 or 4 times, just twice, just so you can hear how all the tunes, excuse me, how all the 3 tunes link together quite nicely as a set. And because they're all in the same key, it doesn't throw too many other people in the session, because sometimes that can be awkward if you've got a guitarist who's maybe not as adept at changing key and things like that, or somebody might be playing the whistle, of course, in a particular key. So yeah, by keeping the 3 tunes in the same key, it's kind of making it a little bit more friendly for the other musicians. And I think you've always got to think about other musicians in the session. You can't just sort of blindly play away your own stuff and expect everybody to be, you know, enamoured to you, because they won't be, because they can't join in. One of the reasons I don't play many of my tunes in sessions, actually, is because if I did, I would be the most unpopular person on the block. Because you know, if somebody turns up to a session and starts playing a load of tunes that nobody's ever heard of before, then it's not really friendly, it's not sociable. Whereas if you turn up and you play a few tunes that everybody knows and, you know, kind of get in the throw of things, then that's nice, because people say, I know these tunes, yes, I recognise that one. And then what you do is you introduce 1 or 2 of your own tunes when no one's looking, when everybody's gone out to the bar or something like that. You play 1 or 2 and then people kind of listen and say, oh, what tune is that? And you say, well, actually it's one of mine, but would you like to learn it? You know, and it kind of breaks the ice a bit, and people say, yeah, I quite like that tune. And then next time you roll up at the session, they say, can you play that tune again? You know. If they don't, then maybe it's not a very good tune. But if they do, you think, well, yeah, that's nice. Okay, I'm rambling on. So I'm going to play the 3 tunes together without stopping, with a bit of luck. If there are any mistakes, I've intentionally added those to this performance, okay, so because this is live. So if there's any mistakes in this tune, they're all intentional, okay. So if I make a mistake, I intended to make one. If I play it beautifully, perfectly, well, that's wonderful. We've got there. Okay, so Homeward Bound. I should put the music back, but there's a lag, so you're going to have to trust me on this one. Here we go. 3, 4. That's the 3 tunes played together, and as you can see, they're quite lively. They get the old foot tapping. If you've got an uilleann pipe player, one of the old Irish pipes, they'll go straight in with that because generally they're in the key of D, so they'll fit straight in there. The old drone, lovely sound, and away they go. They'll be playing along with you. Maybe a low D whistle player, maybe a high D whistle player, high D high, and that basically people will be joining in because it's all in the one key. It's very rhythmical. Maybe the tunes aren't that well known, but Lady Forbes may be known by 1 or 2, but most people know My Love, She Is in America, and they'll join in at the end. That's what I've found from my experience anyway. So you generally won't get thrown out. People will perhaps show their appreciation and enjoy listening to that set of tunes. So I thought today it might be nice to sort of cover some actual tunes with you and talk about them. I first did, thank you, Oli has just said, no mistakes, just good music. That's really nice. Thank you, Oli, because actually there were a lot of mistakes there. I could hear them, but I'm pretty good at covering up my mistakes. That's an interesting point, actually. You know, one of the things is you learn quite early on is if you make a mistake, just don't let on. Don't let anybody know. Just sort of say, just keep playing. Just keep playing. Keep the rhythm going, even if you've forgotten the tune. I can tell you, I've committed that sin so many times. I've been on stage playing a gale or something like that, and everybody's playing along, and then I'm one of the few musicians who hasn't got any musical notation in front of me because I like to have all these tunes locked. So what happened basically, I'll just tell you a little story about this. I'm out playing again, and this has happened a number of times. The band members I've played with for many years will tell you about this. I start off playing a set of tunes. I'm playing the A tune, I'm playing the B tune, and I then switch back to the A tune again, and all of a sudden I go into a B tune which is entirely different from the B tune that we're supposed to be playing, because what's happened in my brain, I flicked onto another completely different tune set in my head, and I've started playing a different set of tunes, all in the same rhythm, not necessarily in the same key, but kind of like keeping the thing going. And of course, I then realised my mistake because everybody's looking at me. The bass player's scowling, the guitar player's looking at me as if I've got two heads, and the drummer's sort of cursing away at the back. Anyway, so I keep going. I don't stop. I mustn't stop because those dancers are kind of flying around the floor doing their thing, and they are not aware of what has happened. I'm started playing a completely different set of tunes, but the band members are, because they've all got sheets of music because they don't memorise the tunes like we do, and they're all looking at me and they're absolutely spitting feathers by this time. They're thinking, and they gradually start to pick up the key and start to work out what the tune is. But I tell you, it's great fun. It's great fun seeing the expressions on their faces and changing the key and changing the tune and just completely having a bit of a crazy time on stage, because it happens with live music. So getting back to this point about making errors and mistakes, yeah, I did make some, but I just kept going. And I kept going with the rhythm. So if you're just learning to play this instrument, or maybe if you're about 4 or 5 years in, what you really must do is learn not to stop. Just keep going, even if you're in a session and you play all the wrong notes and it sounds awful. Oh God, just keep going with that rhythm, and then you'd be amazed. People don't always notice. I'll kind of give you an example. Right, I think that's called The Boys of Blue Hill. That was an early tune I first learnt when I was playing the fiddle. The Boys of Blue Hill, it's a hornpipe. Okay, so, right, so that was one of the early tunes I learnt. Now, I'm going to try and mess this up now so you can kind of see what I mean. mean? I changed there. I went into something called the slow-mo shuffle that I wrote a few years ago. Various things on some of the tunes I was making up, but I kind of kept going. I didn't stop. Now, if you imagine you're dancing around the floor, you've had a beer or two maybe, or maybe a wine, something like that, you don't kind of notice. The only people that do notice are the guys up on the, or maybe the ladies up on the stage. I don't know, but so it's your band, the band members, the other band members that do notice, and they'll give you some stick when you finish. But you just turn around with a wry smile and you say, "Well, I was just keeping you guys up to speed, just making sure you're on your toes." That's what I always did anyway, and I got away with it. So there you go. So that's how you can get over mistakes. Don't worry about them. Just keep the rhythm going, keep the punch going, and you'd be amazed what you can get away with. I've kind of covered everything I'd hoped to cover today. I thought I would just do a few tunes. I thought I'd do a live broadcast because, I don't know, I think they're good fun. Things can go wrong. You can hear all the squeaks and all the good, all the dodgy notes. But hey, that's live music. And it gives me a chance to have a chat, which is nice, and share a few stories with you. And it's lovely to see you. Thank you for helping me learn to play the gale. That's Liana. Now, number one, that's a lovely name, by the way. Liana, what a lovely name. Yeah, the gale, what a great tune. Dougie mclean. He's got a YouTube channel and he does these wonderful live broadcasts himself. Dougie, beautiful voice, beautiful vocalist, and lovely folk songs he sings. So if you get the opportunity, try and look for Dougie mclean singing live, and he does these wonderful concerts from in Scotland. And I think he must have his own studio there. A very, very talented musician and a lovely vocalist. I think he's got fans the whole world over. The gale, Dougie mclean wrote the gale, of course. It's a jig, but he plays it in a special way. And it was used in the film The Last of the Mohicans. And I'm not sure if it was used in the end credits or at the beginning, but it always seemed a bit out of place to me because the film was about Native Americans, of course. But they put this in at the end. I think it was at the end, and it magical. And I think it has kind of taken off because of that. And it's a wonderful tune. Great melody that is. I'm just going to take the musical notation off the screen now because we're no longer playing My Love She Is in America. We should be back on full screen in a moment. But what a wonderful tune the gale is. I should think it's one of those tunes. I think Dougie recorded a whole album on some years ago, and it's all over the place. But I found it on Spotify, and he recorded a whole album of fiddle tunes, and it's fantastic. And he wrote another tune as well that I'm very fond of. Oh no, you mustn't free. Oli said he or she, I'm not sure. I'm assuming it's a he. Used to freeze completely. Yeah, that takes a while. What you have to do is throw yourself in at the deep end. That's an expression we use here, like throwing yourself in at the deep end of a swimming bath. Basically, if you can't swim, you chuck yourself in. You go up on stage and you play to your heart's content, and just hope that people don't leave the building. But the more you do it, the better you become and more relaxed you become. The nerves just kind of fall away after a few minutes, and so you do become more relaxed, and I think people pick up on that. They pick up on your general demeanour. They pick up on how you're playing, how confident you are. If you go on there and you're confident and you play with some sort of flourish, then I think people do recognise that, and they do start to think, oh, this person knows what they're doing, even if you don't. Honestly, it can work. But hey, there we go. How do you get the rolls down? Is that must be on the gale, I think, or maybe it could have been the My Love She Is in America. I think that's what is meant there. How do I get the rolls down? Maybe it's the rolls on the gale. Right, these rolls, yeah, it's a question of flicking your finger on and off that fretboard incredibly quickly. Now, I'm no longer in my, shall we say, flourish of youth. Okay, I'm getting on a bit, but basically, but I'm not in my box yet. I probably won't be. No, maybe I will. But anyway, the rolls. You develop speed, and it takes a while. It doesn't happen overnight. I remember thinking, will I ever be able to play really quickly, things like that, where I flick my finger down on more than one note. That's what I would call a roll. Maybe a roll would be where you go up and then you go down. Yeah, I think that might be what you were referring to there, Josh. Rolls. How do you get them to go down and down? Well, it's practice, basically. I think I did a video on this one. If you have a search across my channel for the gale, or just the word gale, G-A-E-L, I think it's spelled, then you should find it. I did a sort of little video where I kind of talked about how I do these rolls. I don't spend too long talking about them, because actually it's just a question of spending time developing technique. It's like when you pick up a mouth organ, a harmonica, and you try and play it, and you think it sounds blooming awful, and yet there's some guy who turns up at a blues session, you know, and picks up the old harp, as they called it, the mouth organ, sticks one of those old-fashioned microphones in front of their mouth, and they play absolutely amazing blues on a mouth organ, and you're thinking, how on earth do they do that? And you talk to them, Well, I've been doing it for 10 years and I've been practicing, you know, so it kind of takes time, I'm afraid. And that's true with the fiddle. It's all about putting in the hours and giving it time. But don't rush it. It does happen. You do actually find that it gets easier as you go along, and then it pays its rewards, because you can sit there and you can come up with these beautiful melodies which no other instrument seems to lend itself in this way. It's a bit out of tune there. Yeah, wonder where I've heard that one before. Thank you, Rose. But there we go. Wonderful instrument. I've been talking far too long now. Goodness me, way too long. I can't tell how long, but anyway, I'm starting to feel a bit peckish now. So I think it must be nearly tea time. In which case, I hope you've enjoyed this live stream. I hope you've enjoyed listening. It will go on to YouTube and people can tune in, and they can throw their darts at the screen or whatever you choose to do. But anyway, hopefully there's one or two little snippets of useful information that you've found today, and I'm always happy to share ideas and playing techniques or whatever. And yeah, it's lovely to see all of those wonderful comments from you. It's lovely. Yeah. Oh, when is a good time? This is logical suppository. That's an interesting name, because the word suppository has a meaning in this country and we don't like to talk about it. Anyway, not to worry. You might have to look that one up. When is it a good time to start learning rolls? I have been playing for 1.5 years only. Is that a good enough time to start? Actually, yeah, I think probably about 1.5 years is a good time to start on it, because it takes you that long to get the intonation, and you know, to actually play the right notes and get the thing sounding as though it's actually a musical instrument rather than some sort of kid's toy that you've been given for Christmas. So yeah, probably about 1.5 years. And it's so simple. It really, well, I find it simple. Some people will probably play a lot better than me, but the way I play it is the very simple approach. If I'm playing on the D string and then play the first note on the D string, which will be the A, sorry, the E, and I'm going to make a roll, a grace note as I call it, on the next note up, the F sharp, with my middle finger. So I'm going to go, it's a hammer on and off, and it gets quicker and quicker. So let's play that in context. That one is just simply a roll on the first note of the A string, which is the B, and I then go on to C natural with my middle finger, and that's a roll down. Don't forget to develop your slides. 1.5 years you should be thinking about slides, because it will make your music sound, give it more life. That's all a slide is. You just basically just slide up to the note, go a little bit below the note. If you want to do one on the ring finger, you want to get flash, you can go down as well. There's a nice slide down. So yeah, practice the slides, practice those grace notes. Just keep at it, really. I'm afraid for another 1.5 years, but hey, don't give up, because it really does start to make a difference to the listener listening to your musical performance. The ear picks up on even the minutest of little details that you add to your playing, and then add a ton of reverb and it sounds fantastic. That's a nice little dodge if you ever have to do a recording. Just pile a load of reverb on. No, I'm only joking. Just sparing amount. Right, I think probably I need to scoot off now, because I've chatted long enough. I'm probably boring the pants off you, but it's been great fun. And lots of people, lovely people, have joined today, and that's great. And I'm going to scoot off, get some tea. And who knows, I certainly won't be putting my feet up, because I've got a new tune to kind of work out. That was the one that we developed in this live session, and then perhaps add a description. So hey, listen, thanks for coming along, thanks for joining in. I'm sorry this is not pre-scheduled, but I'm not a pre-scheduled kind of guy. It all happens on the hoof with me, which means basically it happens on the spur of the moment, but there you go. Have fun, enjoy your fiddle playing, enjoy wherever you are in the world. I hope it's a peaceful place and life is good for you. Take care, enjoy your fiddle playing, and I might meet up with you sometime. See you again soon. Bye-bye now. I need now is a nice sunny beach setting, me running about